Welcome to another episode of the Maladjusted Monkeys. On this episode, Shane and I speak with a good friend of ours, Ben Vitnell. Ben is coming up on 10 years in the military, so we chat about stepping out of a combat role, missing deployment, and what the next phase of his life may be. But before we dive into the interview, I just want to give everyone a big thanks to all our supporters for listening, providing us feedback. We're looking forward to growing the podcast as much as we can. So if you like what we're doing, please like our Facebook and Instagram page, tag your friends, or share our page if you can. Enjoy today's episode. Lean into it, man.
Yeah.
Let the mic do the work. Well, mate, maybe we should talk about how we all actually know each other.
Yeah.
I do forget.
I do forget as well. So
It's a long time ago now.
yeah. So how many years? I'm going to say 2010.
Were you guys in the same IETs together?
No. So he was already at the battalion when I got there.
Only for about a fortnight.
Oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah,
Oh, shit. I
not
thought it was a
long.
couple months.
Oh, so you would have went through at the same time, just different platoons.
Yeah.
March 2010 I got there.
Yep. And then can you remember how we met? Like,
Not meeting. I can remember us talking about movies. That was it.
the love of movies.
The love of movies.
Yep. And then Cluppy, I can't remember how you came onto the scene exactly.
One of the, because you guys were there, I think a few months before I got there, or
Yeah.
a little
while.
yeah, because McVeigh was still at not the holdback platoon, the TSP, the train support platoon.
In
And
Singleton,
I met him. He's like, oh, if you're going to six, when you get there, there's like three fucking great dudes like Kurto, Tommy, and Vitz. Make sure you hang out there. And like, of course, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, I'll go looking for them straight away. Not like, but it's funny how that ended up playing out. That we all actually became the bestest of friends.
Three best friends that anyone could have.
Yeah.
Is pretty much how it all happened. So yeah, 2010. That's where we all met, and
Yeah.
obviously, I think all our careers differed a little bit. So, which sucked because I remember you got a lot of injuries early, but that's because of
One decent one.
what was
That wasn't an injury, was it? That you had?
Not an injury. It was something I had before the army.
What was it?
Pilonidal sinus. That's cool.
It's like a spine thing, isn't it?
Oh, sort of.
Pilonidal-
It's like a skin infection. It's like the wound won't heal. Requires surgeries. I hid it from the medical staff to get in. I put up with it. Went to Canunga a few times, and then I thought, "Fuck, this is getting bad because it's an open wound." I thought I'd better mention it and let the army pay for it.
And they did.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I remember you being at hospital a lot.
that fucking sucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how many months was that?
It was about 6 or 7
Yeah, that was crazy.
in the ward.
Yeah, I remember. Didn't we bring like your PlayStation and everything
Yeah,
up for you?
I was set up.
That's right. I
And the
remember
nurses
that.
on first name basis. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously your career, fucking a lot of injuries, which sucked. And then at 2013 we left, as in me, Cluppy. When did Kurto leave? 2013.
Yeah, same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
So all three of us left, and unfortunately we left you, mate.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we left you there, mate.
Yeah,
Sorry.
didn't we?
Yeah. So how's things been since 2013 for you?
Not terrible, actually. I was trying to change jobs. The CO at the time offered me one particular
like
job.
you'll go to core transfer.
Yeah. Sorry, I was changing jobs. That's because 6 didn't have any trips on the horizon. I thought, what the fuck am I doing with my time? And the CO at the time offered me one job, screamed at me for 20 minutes in the CO's office, told me to take it or fuck off back to the companies.
What was the job that they offered you?
Operator supply, logistics.
And what job did you want?
I wanted a trade, something to fall back on.
Yeah.
I was thinking vehicle mechanic, because, it's your job. He sent me back out, went and saw my OC, and I was like, sir, get me out of here. I've had enough. 3 weeks later, I was going down to IETs for a job I didn't know anything about.
What, so you got sent for training for another job, and what, you only needed the job title?
Yeah, I found out what it was on the first day of IETs.
Did you get on the defense recruiting website and have a look at it at all?
I
Like the
did
skill?
eventually,
Were there any
yeah.
Wari videos about
Mate.
about the job?
Cam nets and holes and styres and shit. And I tried to make the most of it. And then 4 weeks later or something, or 8 weeks later, going to Darwin.
Oh God.
And this is 2013.
The 14.
2004.
Early 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, how was Darwin?
Don't say it like that.
Oh man.
Jesus.
Man, Darwin is...
Well, you'd love it there, wouldn't you? Because it's...
You'd think so. If you enjoy shooting animals, fishing, crocodiles, and heat, mate, you're in heaven. But it's you just sort
You
of
don't seem convinced.
no, it's not for me. You sort of want to get out of there when you're there. And then
Yep.
now I'm away, I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss going barefoot into pubs.
You what?
Going barefoot into pubs, mate.
That's a
Not
thing?
having to wear shoes.
Gee, what do you do when you're going to the pisses?
Oh, you just get wet feet, I suppose.
At least you never get tinea.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's different when someone else is pissing.
Oh,
on
is
your
it?
feet.
Oh.
Yeah, so. That's why I never go to the toilet with you.
Tinny is the least you worries about there.
Step around the knees.
But yeah, now that I'm back here, I miss it. It's a good laid back atmosphere out there.
So just
Yeah.
so I understand, so obviously we were all in the infantry together, and then
That's correct.
you got sent to. So what was the job they sent you to?
So it's like warehousing, logistics. Yeah.
So you
Not
went
gonna-
from combat to warehousing, but not by your choice.
Not by my choice, but I needed a job, and
And is that you're not doing that now, though, are you?
yeah,
Oh, so I thought that was what you're doing now is something completely different.
it's a different part of that trade.
Okay, so
It's incredibly boring, and I'm not going to try and sell it. But, I think a bit of responsibility lies on myself, obviously, because I didn't have the get up and go at the time to leave the army and make a go at something else. So, it's probably my fault, if anything.
so what's the job you do now? Can you just explain what the role is?
Or what's your day to day?
Yeah, day to day. Like what's
Working in what's called a repair parts store. So every unit has a RAMI element, fix vehicles. Every workshop has basically a little super cheap auto attached to the side,
Yep.
and we run that like super cheap auto in cams.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've gone from. We'll just talk about your infantry career at the moment. So when you joined the army,
Yep.
why'd you pick infantry?
Because there's nothing else in the army, is there?
Exactly. Mate, I remember when I went to recruiting, so I went. You guys met my NATO.
NATO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's still in. He's a captain in Victoria now. The way I joined, we were both sitting at a Good Life gym because all we did every day, like we were working a casual retail job, we just go to the gym every day, sit in the sauna, sit in the pool. Hashtag no homo. Okay.
I'm in the sauna.
And we were sitting in the pool one day, and he goes, "What are we going to do with our life, mate?" And I go, "Well, we could always join the reserves." And then he goes, "Reserves?" And I go, "No, fuck that." He goes, "If we're going to do it, let's do it properly." So that night we went back to his place and got online, and we both signed up, picked the days that we went in for our testing, did that, came back for our interviews on the same day. And before we went in, I'm like, "Mate, it is infantry or nothing, right?" And he goes, yeah, infantry for sure. That, we're definitely going to do that. Go in, you got to pick like the three, you pick 3 jobs. Do you remember that?
Your preferences.
Your preferences that
Yeah.
you want to do. I only filled out 1. And the guy's like, "Mate, you've still got 2. And I go, "It's infantry or nothing." He's like, "Come on, mate, you sure? There's 2 more spots. Just put something down." I'm like, "No, it's infantry or nothing." All right, cool. Come out, and I said to Nathan, I'm like, "Infantry, mate, that's what we went." Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, sorry, bro." I'm like, "What do you mean sorry?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go to Canberra and be an officer." I'm like, "I thought we were joining the infantry together." He's like, "Yeah, no, that'd suck. I'm not doing that." So for me, yeah, infantry or nothing. And I assume for you,
So obviously you don't talk to this bloke anymore.
yeah, he's dead to me. What about Coppy for you? Why'd you?
Oh, because his granddad, that's
Oh, he was infantry.
Yeah, he was infantry. So
Yep.
I always thought, because I remember when I told him I was joining the army, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Infantry." He's like, "Don't do that. Don't do that."
Mate,
Well, it's because we all saw the movies. I saw Tears
Yeah.
of the Sun. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
fuck yeah.
Because that's what the Australian infantry does.
Yeah, mate.
You know?
My granddad said the same thing. He said, whatever you do, don't join the infantry. You'll just walk everywhere. That's all he said.
So why did you join Ben?
Described it perfectly. I didn't want a normal job. I wanted a job that it sort of took place on the news. It was just in the public's consciousness, I guess. Everyone knows about the army and the ADF, and
Well, at the time, like,
I want to be part of it.
I guess when we all joined Afghan war, you'd always see it on the news.
It was
And
firing up proper in
proper
2008,
firing up.
2009.
Iraq as well, like that was a prospect before we joined. We're like, yeah.
Well, I think guys
Iraq,
were doing.
Afghan.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get to 80 or 90, geez, if I get that far, and had not done my part, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
I just wanted to, even if it was just 5 years, it's stretched out to 9 now, but I wanted to do my bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you joined. You're in. Let's say we'll go to 2000. When we were all in here, 2010.
10.
And were you enjoying your time in the infantry?
5% of the time, it's the best job in the world. 95% of the time, it's the shittest job in the world.
Oh, me and Shane know what you mean, but for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't understand, explain that.
It is not glamorous. It is not tears of the sun. There were many exercises where our chain of command didn't even organise an enemy party for us. So you just carry and wait through the bush looking at trees.
And I remember numerous times where we didn't have ammo.
Didn't have ammo.
Yeah. The budget had been blown
The
out.
budget had been blown out,
Yeah.
so you had to pretend
Buckets of bullets.
buckets of bullets.
Yeah.
We'd yell out buckets of bullets as you were shooting, and that's
First
not
one
an
up.
exaggeration.
Or it could be the other way, and we had too much, and we'd be tossing it into creeks.
Don't know. I never did that, mate.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've never heard the phrase "chicken feed your rounds, boys."
By tossing it into creeks, I mean fire it for good training purposes. But
Yeah.
Yep.
you sort of, it's taken its toll on your body, and if there's no trips on the horizon, you just think,
What's the point? Like,
Yeah.
you've signed up to the job, you've gone through all that training, and you've got that that mentality that's been instilled in you through your initial employment training, of all you want to do is your job, and then
Exactly.
it's a hard thing to kind of explain, because I imagine fireys, coppers, ambos, they all would feel the same way, in that you're training to do this job, and on one level, of course, you don't, if you're going and doing your job, that means that people are being hurt, people are in a really bad way, but at the same time, you still want to get out there and do it, and it's a weird dichotomy between those two things. And
Well, yeah. Speaking from experience, like, because I've done the army and now I'm in the police. The difference I find is it was frustrating in the army because day to day, if you're not on deployment, you're training for this almost like a dream. You're always, get ready for the war. You're going. You never know when you're going. Some guys don't get to do it. You're training for that. It's like training for a football match. And I know we all use this analogy. Training for a football match and you're just sitting on the bench the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for emergency services, I'm happy because I get to do my job every day.
yeah,
I'm putting my training into practice every day.
Yeah, you sort of think, would a medical student go through 10 years of medical school if they knew they were never going to get to touch a patient?
yeah.
Yeah, a medical
a lot of
student,
effort to go
they do
to.
all their training and they just sit there watching ER going, yeah, I'm going to be
Yeah.
doing that one day. Yeah, medical, fuck, I wouldn't do it like that.
A little bit more training, mate, and you'll get there.
Yeah, ER, that's old school reference. I don't know what the Grey's Anatomy, I don't know. Whatever we're up to. House? Yeah, we'll go with house. Okay, so that was battalion life. I know what you're saying, 95% of the time.
Yeah.
It's boring, and 5%.
I wouldn't change it, but
No, I don't think any of us
No.
would. Yeah.
change a few things, but I wouldn't change the fact that I did it.
Yeah. So at that time, I know it's a hard topic to ask you about when we deployed and you didn't come with us. How?
I've actually, and this will sound stupid, but I have sort of nightmares about it. And a recurring sort of nightmare is a group of people is leaving and I can't find my kit. I can't, they're taken off and I can't keep up or something. And it's, fuck, I have it all the time. And now I'm sort of living it because Yeah.
Like how, so the job that you're in now, like it still feels like that when because you're working so
does.
closely in the unit
Yeah.
you are with guys who are, going overseas on humanitarian trips and things like that.
Yeah, and they're starting to. I don't want to get into that whole topic, but they're starting to sort of. They have quotas on who has to be on deployments and stuff. So they've got to have so many girls. They're going to have so many junior soldiers, and it's just sort of difficult seeing people go away.
So when
Not being a part of it.
when we left, like, were you angry or like frustrated at the
I
time?
was sort of lost. I tried not to be angry or frustrated. I went up to Darwin and, got a lot fitter and lost a lot of weight. And I sort of tried to take advantage of what I'd been taught to, be good in my new job. And being in infantry helped because you're better at soldiering than the rest of them.
Well,
Just-
everyone in your new role,
In the new
when you
role.
got there, it would be a different pace for you, and everyone would be looking at you as like,
yeah.
the senior soldier. 'cause you're
Things like
ex-infantry.
gear, and then a year and a half later, I got my first hook. While people that I transferred with, are, still sort of plugging along, and then and then it happened again. My unit got a trip, and we'd been understaffed for so long that when we did get a trip, they couldn't justify sending everybody because
What year was this?
2017 last year.
Of last year.
Yeah. So I watched all these fucking kids go over there, and then I felt like another 3 years had gone down the drain. And now I'm fucking nearly 30, thinking, what am I doing? So the same reason I left the infantry, I'm now thinking of leaving the ADF because it's like there's nothing on the horizon. And that carrot keeps dangling, but
Yeah, it's so strange how, like, in any other job, civilian job, where, like, I mean, day to day you are kind of doing your job, but
Yeah.
at the same time, there's something inside. I'm not sure if it's the training or it's just we hold those trips so high on a pedestal that if you don't get that thing, it almost makes everything else you've done, and you do good work throughout the rest of your career that isn't overseas and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where you do engage with the public and things like that. But that all becomes kind of, I don't think redundant's the right word, but like it takes away from the things that you do accomplish just because
Yeah.
you're not getting that trip overseas.
well, it's justification at the end of the day.
So yeah, it's like why else have you joined the army if
Yeah.
not to go overseas and to do that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, I read that book, Tommy. You told me to read.
Which
The
one?
Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Or did I tell you to read it? I think I told you to read
You
it.
told me to read it, and I have not read it yet.
It's really good. It sort of highlights the fact that you got to take responsibility for the shit going on in your life. So not only are you sort of down in the dumps because of all that shit, but it hits you that it's your fucking fault. It's no one else's. You got to step up and work hard, and hard work attracts good luck, I think, and and that hits you like a ton of bricks again.
So that,
But I'm doing all right.
yeah, well, every time I see you seem to be doing well. But I know, like, from past experiences with you, there are times where you seem to be a ghost, like you disappear, and I'm like, oh, is this because of his like the military career stuff of not achieving the deployment or something like that, or is it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
It's a bit fucking, you don't sort of fit in. Like, you're never going to fit in with everyone. Like, we've all got problems fitting in with other people who we want to fit in with, but it's like on Anzac Day, all your closest mates are sitting there with their gongs on their bloody chests, and you're sitting there, like you're on the fringe of the conversation. You don't really have much input. But I know it's not like that with you blokes, but
yeah.
that's sort of analogy, I guess.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Like
Yeah.
that would fucking like I constantly think about because as not as I get with guys who went overseas before us, and they still live in the desert and they'll never let go
Yeah.
of that experience. But Yeah, I always felt so bad, like thinking back on how just the way that, like with Kurto and with you, and you never got that, and then it's fucking
Yeah, I guess recently I was put in a lot of hard work for that trip last year, and I was cool when you blokes went overseas. I didn't lose any sleep over it because I was like, the blokes on this trip are just better soldiers. They've worked harder. They've worked harder. That's what it is. A lot of the time it is. You've done more
I'm not going to
exercise.
say the person's name because one of them, I remember the Padre was giving us a bit of a talk before, a couple of weeks before we left, and he was saying like, basically, good luck, guys over there, stay safe, look after each other, And he said once he was like, we all know that you might not all come back, One of the guys, think fuck, he did, pulled himself off because he was shitting himself. But then there was and then there was another person who did go over who should not have gone over. I mean, there was probably quite a few people who did. Like, and any day of the fucking week, like you got to be real, man. Like, the quality of soldier that you were was well and truly above at least a lot of the other people that went.
Oh, in some aspects, yeah.
Mate, I see. I feel the same way. Like when I was over there, I'm like, how the fuck did I get over here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then I'm like, I'm not. I compared myself to like you and Kurt. I'm like, those boys should be going over, not me.
Kurto should have.
Yeah, we all know Kurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I know you beat yourself up over that. It's not like I said before. It's when the music stopped, me and Cluppy were just holding the parcel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
Yeah.
We just got lucky.
But I know what you mean. Like, it's hard to rationalize that in your own mind.
Yeah.
And to let that go, like, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that it's a fucking issue and that you shouldn't feel that way, but it doesn't really help because you keep feeling that fucking way.
Yeah. I guess you're just talking about turning 30 and that makes me think, fuck, I joined when I was 20. That's a decade of my life that I've committed.
But would you change anything?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sometimes I think I would,
What?
I would have made more of an effort to probably transfer into civilian life.
But I don't know, man. Like, I reckon you've probably got experiences that you had in Darwin that...
Yeah.
It's like, not necessarily what you did in your job while you were there, but like the people that you would have met, the good times that you would have had outside of the army, like going hunting and going fishing and stuff like that. I mean, if you transferred to a civilian job and went back to Coffs or fucking stayed in Brisbane or something like that, you could be working a 9 to 5, pushing paper, not necessarily getting out and doing all those things that you got to do.
True, yeah. See, there's a lot of good parts.
And I mean, I remember a camping trip that we did where it was quite lucky that you just happened to have your trunk in the back so that you're moving house or something. And these young kids come wandering over and like, oh, hey, do you have a first aid kit or something like that? I mean, I think I stayed with the car, but you got...
Me and Kurto?
You picked up the story because... Were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
Well, you picked up the story.
We were sitting at Finglehead and you weren't there, were you? Yeah,
No.
you'd ridden down Shane from bloody Sunny Coast on your bike and we're camping at the place and 3 young kids come over and go, hey guys, have you got a first aid kit? And we were fucking smashed. We had so many beers that night. And, what's wrong? And he goes, Dad's hit his head. So I grabbed the little first aid kit.
They were very blasé about it.
Yeah. They were sort of shy because, 5 loud drunk blokes sitting there. And then so we went over and old Pops had one too many, gone out to take a leak in the dark and sputtered in and headbutted a roadside post on the way down.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, nothing sort of sobers you up like an elderly man bleeding from the head horizontal.
I've always said that.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck, I better calm the kids down because they were starting to carry on. We gave them a Cylene that we had. Always carry Cylene, mate. Good soldiers.
Good
I was like,
I've seen Zero Dark 30.
Yeah,
That's always distracts the kids, the glow sticks.
Yeah. Called the ambos. I was like, go out to the road and guide the ambulance in.
But you guys patched him up.
We patched him up, yeah. We cleaned out his wound and bandaged his head and he started shaking on the ground and I thought, fuck, he's convulsing. Like head trauma, he's carrying on and we were speaking to the lady at the ambos and she said, put a blanket over him. I was like, so we put a blanket over him and he was just shivering. Like, I felt a bit stupid, but the ambos rocked up and took him away and the kids thanked us. And,
yeah, and what did the ambos say to you when Because I'm pretty sure I just didn't know that they were quite impressed with what you guys had done and the treatment that you guys had given him.
Yeah. He said, who bandaged his head? And Curto done it. And he was like, yeah, me, mate. Why? And he goes, oh, it's better than we would have bothered with.
Would have bothered with.
Professional medical staff,
Yeah.
Well, again, that comes down to your experience.
So that's
a soldier,
that's why I raised that is I think that it's those kind of moments where not necessarily what you did in the Defence Force, but from that training that you had and the experiences that you had there, like those are the things I think you need to try and remind yourself of what that's kind of some of the stuff that you've gotten out of it now.
The army sort of makes you real blasé about blood and injuries and death, and where normal people go, oh god, that's terrible. We're sort of having a giggle at someone, especially if it's like like a suicide bomber in pieces spread out over a bit. We sort of
you got to have that dark sense of
humor. Yeah, you got to laugh about it. Whereas other people, it's real sort of it's full on.
Yeah,
but you sort of
those are again like soldiering experiences. Travel into whatever we do now, like obviously with me and the police now, that transfers really easily.
It's natural, isn't it?
Yeah, jobs. You need that dark humour. You go into bodies all the time, and if you took it so seriously, you wouldn't last in emergency services. Same with ambos and fireys. Like we've all got the same sense of humour because you just need to. Like I said, burnout. Burnout would be a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So transitioning, you're now thinking about doing something outside of military or what?
Yeah, I've always liked it's funny, it's happened twice now. I've always liked the bloody thought of moving south somewhere cold, making coffees for 12 months, relaxing, and just working something non-stressful.
Yep.
And then each time I've sort of started to get that ball rolling, I've met a chick. And, which is not a bad thing. I met Danielle now.
And she's in Defence Force.
She's in the RAF, yeah. So, yeah, that's put a halt to that. But, I think that's the curse of the army is when you're in it, you're always thinking of what are you going to do after the army, whereas a lot of normal people think, this is my career, I'm going to die doing this job, this is what I'm going to do for life. But I know me, in the army, it's always felt temporary. So I said, I'll do me 5 years or do me 4 years, and then I'll get out. So you never sort of settle, you're never sort of happy.
I guess it seems on that same track, really, really hard to maintain that career and the amount of time you have to do outfield. And then for me, like the things that pop in my head is like family. How am I going to incorporate family into that with the amount of time out of field and the amount that you do have to kind of give up with your social life and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to get to 80 and sitting on your deathbed and go, I'm glad I spent those 6 weeks firing blanks, instead of spending it with my wife and kids. Yeah. That's what really mattered.
Also, I don't know how guys do it. Now, like, I've started my family since leaving the army, and I always think, like, how the fuck do people do this while they're in the army? Like, the amount of times you go on outfield and stuff, and like, you can't plan anything. No. There's no way I could do that now. Like, I don't know how people do it.
You time that real well.
Like
something as simple as owning a dog. Like I know one of the boys at work now, he's pretty lucky that someone can take it on. Otherwise, like imagine how much it would cost for 6 weeks at a doggy hostel.
Or even just like if you've got a family, you're leaving your missus with the kids. Like, that's so much pressure on them. They've got things they need to do if they're working as well. Like
exactly.
If they're full time or whatever, like that is
and
way too hard.
For what? But
for what? Like you said,
what are you achieving?
Yeah. Do you want to be sitting there firing blanks for 6 months and go, oh yeah, that was good, I'm glad I did that, or do you want to see your kids grow up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to think about what you're going to worry about on your deathbed.
Yeah, exactly.
So try and buddy keep in mind.
I'll tell you about my neighbour that I went through ITs with. Oldie.
No.
He had a dive course he had to go on for 4 months in Sydney, and they'd lived in Sydney their whole lives, all their families in Sydney, so he moved up with his wife, and they had a 4-month-old at the time when he had to go and do his course. And, obviously down there pretty full on because he's always out in the boats doing dives and stuff, can't always call home. And I got a message from Madison one morning that Holly was feeling a little bit crook and she couldn't get time off work to go and give her a hand. So I was ringing around the boys because I was out at Amberley doing some stuff. And I said, is there anyone I can go back and, or anyone's missus that can go back and give her a hand and whatnot. And I don't think anyone could get away, but pretty lucky, my hierarchy again, let me leave a bit early to go and like, thank God, she's such a strong chick, man. Like, she was, like, literally huddled around a bucket, spewing her guts up, trying to look after this 4-month-old and keep it together. Like, me and Matt, like, it was pretty lucky that her mum just happened to be coming that Friday. So I stayed with Holly and kept Bub entertained while Madison shot off to the airport to go and pick her mum up. And like, holy shit, man, that it was the first time I kind of understood it from my partner's perspective of while I'm away, she's got because my partner's in the same boat, all her family's away. She's going to have to look after, if she gets crook, if something happens, like, there is support out there, there's people she could ring and whatnot, but still, it's strangers doing it when you could be with your family and things like that. It's changed my whole mindset on it.
It's so hard. Like, even now, like when Boston was born, I think I had 6 weeks off, and then when I went back to work, obviously, where we were living at the time, my station was like 2-3 minute drive from home. I'd feel bad leaving for 8 hours, knowing that she was struggling, because she hasn't slept, she's feeling sick, got a newborn that's constantly crying. I felt bad just being down the road for 8 hours. I can't imagine being away for 4 months, knowing your wife is struggling, feeling sick, looking after a newborn, and there's hardly any support there. I couldn't do it.
Would you get childcare or something?
Now he's at daycare 3 days a week, but she's back full time.
How much does that cost? How much?
Oh man, I'm not the figures, man.
I remember Madison's mum telling me about one of the women that she worked with at this news agency in Gundy. She wanted to go back to work because she just had a baby, or I can't remember how old the baby was, but Madison's mum did the calculations on it and worked out she would only be clearing an extra like $50 to $100 a week or a fortnight once you factored in all that childcare.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was almost like, you got to think about it. It's like, would it be better that she just stay at home
and not work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's my dream. I mean, God, I wish Madison was rich. I'd be a stay-at-home dad. That would be amazing.
I've got a mate who does. Oh, I remember Babs.
Yeah.
He's a stay-at-home dad.
Is
He's got
he?
like 3 or 4 kids now.
Lucky.
I was talking to him about it a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Mate, if you can do it, be a stay-at-home dad." And that's kind of where I've been at in my mind lately, where I put so much emphasis on work, always have, be it the military or police. I'm like, work's always the first thing, and now I'm getting to that point where I'm like, do I want to be on my deathbed one day? The kid's going to be standing around me going, geez, Dad was, so good at his work. Yeah. We love him for that. Or are they going to be like, Dad missed this birthday, he missed this Christmas, this footy match. What's more important at the end of it all, really?
But what choice do you have sometimes?
Yeah. I don't know.
You'll probably also think, geez, I'm glad Dad put a roof over my head.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I did hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I mean, I suppose teenagers aren't always the most reasonable bunch.
No, I'll let you know when I get there.
I'm grateful.
No.
Obviously, in your current role, you're talking about transitioning or thinking about doing other things. What, in the next 5 years, what do you foresee happening for you?
Well, I'm too close to my long service now.
That's true.
Yeah, so I want to take advantage of that because it'd be silly not to. I'm going to do a lap around Australia.
Yeah, you've always talked about that.
Around the bottom.
Do you still have the troopy?
Do, mate, yeah. The old girl. Still costing me money. I want to do a lap around Australia and maybe work my way around the bottom. Take extended leave.
Yep.
Just sort of try and live a life on the road and pick up little bits and pieces of work where I can, and keep the truck full of fuel. And eventually I want to get to Broome and see WA's West Coast. So I just want to, after 9 solid years without a major holiday, I want to relax.
Yep.
Grow my hair like every other age. And, just take my time, I guess. But that'll only last 12, 18 months. After that, mate, I haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
I think I'm done with defence, but yeah, I've got a lot of thinking to do about career-wise. But I'm not fussed.
I think you're done with defence.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
I remember how passionate you used to be talking about stuff.
Yeah, mate, that runs out, doesn't it?
I suppose there's only so long you can kind of maintain that rage when there's nothing really going on. Because if you're going to be sitting around essentially doing a civilian job, why do it in a place where, and I mean, it's understandable why we have all the rules and regulations that we have with grooming and stuff like that. But why do a civilian job where you've got all those caveats on you and whatnot? Why do that when you can be a civvy and potentially earn more money and
Yeah.
grow a beard and grow your hair out.
Yeah.
Which is obviously the most important reasons for
Well,
discharging.
I wouldn't know because I can't grow a beard. But,
Me either, but I'll give it a crack.
yeah, I've been giving it a crack for nearly 30 years. Yeah, can grow me hair though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea though. Like I've always thought if I get to a stage where I want to, like seriously considering getting out proper again, is taking an extended period of unpaid leave, because it gives you that option of like, gives you time to kind of pick up some small jobs to earn enough to get by and try and figure out something. And if it all goes tits up, then at least you've got that,
Yeah, what's
you
the
haven't
worst that
lost
can
any-
happen?
Yeah, exactly. You haven't really made
Yeah.
any detriment to your career or anything like that.
No, that's right.
Shane, what do you think in the next 5 years? Because I know you do enjoy the job still, but
Oh mate, I'm just I feel so lucky to be at the unit I am now.
Yeah.
I must sound like I'm sucking off my fucking unit so bad. But anyway,
Yeah, get off the nose.
yeah, fucking stand up, mate, get off your knees.
yeah, did bring my knee pads. But I'm trying very hard not to actually have a 5-year plan or any kind of plans into the future, because that's one of the biggest things that gives me anxiety, trying to work out what I want to do.
So you're purposely avoiding a plan.
Yeah, because that's all I do is just try and plan shit out. And like, oh no, if I can get this job, I'll be happy. If I can do this, I'll be happy.
Yep.
And like, it's turned around and I'm exactly where I wanted to be right now. Like my plan from when I got back in, I'm exactly where I wanted to be. And I've kind of hit the wall and where I'm almost the worst I've ever been, like mentally. So I've talking about on the last podcast how I'm trying to just reconnect and try and figure out a way that I can interact with the world and with my friends, with my family, without needing alcohol, and try and find some purpose that doesn't come from a job. Like
Yeah.
I put too much, like you were saying before, too much emphasis on my career and having to be the best at that and trying to be the best at that. And
Yeah. Well, actually, interesting you raise that. Like, it's for you now, because you've been in the job, what, nearly a decade.
9 years just.
Do you interact with many civilians?
Family?
Excuse me.
Family, I guess. And every time you meet him, you go, "How's the army going?" "Yeah, good." "You going overseas?" "No, not yet." "What do you do day to day?" "Oh, this and that." And then you move on.
Avoiding it?
you find it hard to talk to them about.
Well, yeah. What are they going to understand?
Yeah.
You can't. They don't understand how shit the last X was or whatever, because they're never going to understand. But it's just hard. But no, actually thinking about that, not many. And the more you do, the sort of, I don't know, you sort of don't want to be one, I guess. I don't know.
Be what? A civilian?
Yeah.
See, I reckon you'll go all right in civilian life, because we've talked about it before, Shane, the whole identity crisis where we hang on to that we were soldiers so much. But there's like, you got so much experience in doing other things. Like, I just feel like anytime I've seen you interact like at a social gathering with someone who's not in the military, you find that common ground.
you are a social butterfly.
You are
I
a social
can
butterfly, yeah.
spin a yarn with anyone, I think, no matter what they're into. Or, yeah.
But it's just finding that next thing to do.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I want to find what I'm happy to do for the rest of my life.
Does it ever, do you feel like you're held back from going and doing that by like feeling that you might have unfinished business with the army? Like that you're holding on
Yeah.
that there still could be?
Yeah, and my stepdad once, he said, when I was discharging last year, he was like, "I don't think you should get out until you go overseas." And I was,
Like how much longer do you wait?
but yeah, exactly right. And I think I'm going to cap it on my my long service, and then you got to move on. You got to take responsibility, and I shouldn't feel trapped, because everything in your life is you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
You're only trapped by yourself and what you're sort of willing to get off your ass and do.
Let's say you hung on to the next trip though. Apart from the money,
Yeah.
what do you think you're going to get out of it though? The trip.
Justification. I think that the last 10 years weren't wasted. I think it'll be a nice little icing on a fucking 10-year cake that I've been baking.
Yeah, that's true.
I just want to, and then I'll be able to sort of blow the
Frosting
candles.
all over the
Yeah.
place.
I sort of want to be able to blow the candles out on that cake. And it'll be closure in a way. It'll be closure, I think.
Do you think? I don't want to be a fucking downer here. Do you
No,
think?
please.
Oh, please. That's what I do best.
Yeah.
Do you reckon there'll be a part that won't be fulfilled though, even after you get back? Just because, remember what we were saying at the beginning of the podcast, where we joined to be infantry. You want that because I know me and Shane. Like Shane, you got it at like 2 ticks when you're over there.
Yeah.
I didn't get my big contact, and for me, there's that I never got that big contact. Will it be for you, the same for you because you won't be going over in an infantry role,
That's right, yeah.
and I'd
Yeah.
say you'll be subjected to staying in a forward operating base and not really getting a chance to go
Yeah.
outside the wire. Will there be frustration because it's like you're standing at the fence, looking through the fence and seeing the big game.
Just give me a gun, I can do it.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I've actually thought about that. I thought, geez, I really want a trip. And then I thought, well, what is a trip when you're a pogue? And not to take away from anything that anyone's ever done, but is a trip that important when I'm just putting boxes on a shelf or, driving a forklift?
Yeah.
I'll take it
Oh yeah.
because I'd love a house deposit.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Well, take it for the money. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's the money.
Troop, you
But
never
just
knew
to say,
Bullard.
I know, yeah, I know that it's. You said,
Yeah.
closure for the last 10 years. Do you reckon you'd get that closure?
I think I will.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to be shot at and shoot back, and experience that. But
Isn't that weird how we all want that? Like,
yeah,
it's funny. Like people always say, what was your time like? And then I tell them, and they're like, oh, I bet you it was good when you got home. And I was like, not really. Like after I'd say 48 hours of me touching back down to Brisbane, I was like, righto, let's go back over there. I've got unfinished business. I didn't get.
send me home, send me back.
Yeah, send me back and let's actually do this properly. Like, get me into that contact. Let me get shot at and let me shoot back
Yeah.
and do what I've trained to do.
Be a good experience, I reckon.
I think, is it feeling untested? Like,
Yes.
so you did all that training and like, you always looked at it as being competent or qualified in all those aspects, but until you actually do it, there's always going to be a part of you that...
Well, I think so. Like, look at the training you do to be infantry qualified is, is pretty full on. And then you get to the battalion life and you're doing all that training, and then you do your pre-deployment training, which is even better. And everyone's like, "Yep, this is going to happen to you over there. This is what you're going to experience." You're like, "Yep, let's do this. I'm good to go." I always think it's like, that scene in Gladiator where he's standing at the gates and he's put his mask on and he's ready to go. That's what like pre-deployment's like. You're like, "Yep, let me get out there." Then they open the gates. The fucking stadium's empty. There's no lions. And you're like, "Have I come on the wrong day here?" Like, yeah, what is going on?
This is just the matinee.
Yeah, it's just a matinee. Like, where the fuck is everyone? And then next thing you know, 6 months have gone by, and they're like, "Hey, mate, just jump back in. Just jump back in the cage there, mate. We're done." And you're like,
Oh, the Gladiator tournament, mate. That was yesterday.
"Yeah, you missed it."
That's what that Raw was.
Is that what that was? Fuck me, I've come on the wrong day.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. And that's why we
Yeah.
want that, because, yeah, like you said, it's like a pressure test for us. It's validation. You've done 4 years of training, well, longer for Vits, Just let me...
You know what didn't help, I think, either? Being from 6RR, we were all that generation of soldiers who joined after MTF1.
Yeah.
So at the Boozers on Anzac days, there was a clear line I noticed between MTF1 soldiers and everyone else.
Yeah.
And if you went MTF1, you weren't shit.
So yeah, like MTF1 was obviously the deployment 2010, and that was a big one.
That was a hairy one, apparently.
yeah. And then anything after that just didn't live
Yeah.
up to it. Which, if you're a civilian hearing that, you'd be thinking, "Oh, that's good, isn't it?" That's good. Not when not when you're an infantry soldier.
Oh.
Like, that's the big show. That's what you want, and then you just don't get it. So you feel like you miss out on validation.
Yeah, it's going to be an itch that I don't think I'll ever scratch, and I think I have to move on from that. And
What is hard? Like,
yeah,
I've only recently been able to let go of it, let go of the whole identity and the fact that I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do. and be happy and proud of what I did get to do. You know, not everyone gets to do.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets to go over at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'll just be happy at least I was over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let go of that identity.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be one of those guys, and we see them all the time, you know, that they've been out of the military for so long, and all they want to talk about is, oh, do you remember this and remember that? And oh, back in my day when water was wetter and rocks were harder, you know, like you do not want to be that guy. You're like, hey guys, look, remember the operator caps? I'm wearing them.
Yeah.
I used to be that guy.
You see blokes like that all the time, and you just wonder why aren't you still in? And then you sort
Yeah,
of
the way
remember
they
that-
talk about it.
probably because no one liked them when they were in.
yeah. Anyone that keen's normally a tosser, but
You
yeah.
don't say, Tommy.
Whatever do you mean, mate? You're the one who brought the fucking, what am I looking at? The Department of Defense message notebook
What,
here.
you think I'm going to fork out money for my own notepad and pen?
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta shop
Yeah,
early,
you
mate.
are a cheap bastard.
Oh.
Yeah, what was this? I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, so the guy's like, you don't want to be that guy just hanging on
Yeah.
way
yeah.
too much. Because if you're that guy, you will never get over it. You'll never have new experiences, meet new people.
Eat away.
Yeah, that's it.
It will eat away at you.
And it will eat away at your relationships. I remember the CO we had when he was leaving. Something that stuck with me that he said was like, be proud of everything that you've done in your careers, be it overseas or whatever. But especially if you have been overseas, don't live in the desert. Like that's one part of your life, and you've got another 60, 70, 80 odd years of your life that you have to live. And if you continue to make everything about that deployment, everything about your military career, it's going to be to the detriment of your relationships, your friendships, like your friends, your city mates. They're not going to want to fucking hear you go bang on about, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that, or
Yeah. It almost comes to define who you are for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And some guys, I think, are happy with that because they don't know any better. Whereas now, I know I've got the foresight that I've let go of that identity, and when I see it, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
It's a generational thing, I think, because back in the 30s and 40s, the Tobruk veterans and the Kokoda veterans, that it did define who they were for the rest of their lives. They were World War II vets, and they owned it, and the public enjoyed it. But these days, Generation X, Y, Z, you don't want to. It's a bit shit if you sort of, I don't know how to word it. If you sort of, I'm an Afghan vet, you're like, cool, man.
Yeah.
And it's not kosher to bloody live in that sort of image, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Because I mean, it's not like
You're not
the
running-
Vietnam vets, what they copped when they came home and whatnot. I don't think we ever cop it to that
No.
degree, but we, I don't know, I think it's more, we internalise it more.
I've copped it
Rather-
once. Did I tell you about
Yeah.
this? Like, me and the missus went to Fiji for a holiday, and we were staying it was kind of like a fancy backpackers, right? And there was a wedding on at the same time. So most of the resort was like occupied by people at this wedding. So like all the bar area, the wedding was the night before, but the bar area was taken up by people that had been at this wedding, but asked if we can sit at this table with people because everything was packed. And I'm like, yeah, it's all right, join us. We're joining in on the conversation, and everyone's getting along fine. And then the guy turns to me and Carly and says, "Oh, so what do you guys do for a living?" And I think we at the time we just said, "Oh, we work in government." "Oh, but what do you do?" And I said, "Okay, well, we're police officers." And this guy was very anti-police, and he just started ripping into us about how all the cops do is bash people, and we should be ashamed of ourselves, calling us pigs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll give him a pass just because I don't want to cause a scene here, and he's very drunk, so whatever. And then he starts like wanting to know why we joined, and he starts like targeting Carly, and I jumped in. I'm like, I'll answer your question, mate. You go, well, what did you do before the police? And I was like, I was in the army. And I was thinking, okay, this will take away from the police. And then he's like, oh, that's even worse. And he starts saying, oh, did you go overseas? I'm like, yes, I did. Where'd you go? He said, Afghanistan, 2012. Well, fuck, did I open a box there? He starts like getting in my face and calling me a baby killer. And I'm like,
Isn't it ironic how he has the freedom to say that to your
Yeah,
face?
yeah, exactly. And I'm like,
Fuck
mate, where are you getting this from? He's like, you're a baby killer. You've gone to a false war. All you go over there is just kill innocent people. I'm like, mate, you've got no idea. You've got no understanding of what goes on there. And I said something like, unless you've been over there, don't comment on what happens because I don't know where you're getting your information from. And then he says I can't remember the exact job he did, but something to do with being a humanitarian.
Yeah.
And I said, you can't comment. He goes, I'm a humanitarian worker. I can comment. And I go, look, mate, I don't want to do this with you. You're making a bit of a scene here. Let's just end this and not have this conversation. He goes, no, we're going to have this conversation. I was like, man, I would love to stand up and just kick the shit out of you right now. And I'm like, but everyone's against me here. You know, as in it's all his friends.
Yeah.
Everyone went really quiet. But that was the first time anyone's ever really gotten in my face.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ended up walking away and Carly ripped into him. I went to the toilet. I punched the wall. I was so angry. And then came back.
Well, at least you punched the wall, not.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, if I punch this dude, we're going to get kicked out here. And, this is what he wants. At the end of the day, he wants me to react that way. Because then I've proven his point.
Yeah, exactly.
That we're all aggressive and we just go over there to kill people.
Yeah. And I know, like you were saying, how it's ironic that he has the freedom to do that. I know that gets brought up a lot about, I guess, like people say, liberal types who have this entitlement, what they haven't served the country and shit like that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to use that that maxim of people died for your right to do that, then we need people need to, like, servicemen and women need to accept the fact that people died for their right to be cunts.
Yeah.
To be what, Shane?
to be what, mate?
Sorry.
No.
And they're more than entitled to do that. And if people will get in your face and stuff. And I think a part of that professionalism and stuff that they try and drill into us in the Defence Force and other things is, people can be dicks about things, but we need to be the bigger people and demonstrate how to behave in public.
Yeah, exactly.
In those situations, which you done well. I mean, you punched the wall, but you did the right thing.
Yeah, I walked away at the end. Like, inside, I was seething. Like, when you get so angry, your hand shakes because you just want to lash out.
Yeah.
I was like that, and I just kept saying, mate, I don't want to have this conversation with you. Everyone's been drinking. I'm not going to do this. And he kept wanting to push it.
For every person that describes themselves as, like, hippie, liberal, whatever, like, there's maybe for every one or two of them, there's 10 more others that aren't like that and who are thankful for the freedoms that they enjoy, and for people who actually go out and serve their country, be it in the capacity of coppers, ambos, or fighters, or whatever. I honestly think, because I still do get worked up over that shit, but there's no point. Like, it's a small minority who are very loud, and I think a vast majority of people, regardless of sexual orientation or fucking anything, like, people are just people. Some people are nice, some people are assholes.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the first time I ever experienced that. And I was like, Jesus, this was way out of left field. I did not see this coming. But
you might have just recently got a ticket or something, mate. You never know.
Well, he did actually tell me that he got taken to the watch house and someone planted drugs on him. I tend to not believe that.
No.
That's why I didn't like...
Was it Denzel Washington in a black beanie, was it?
Yeah.
Righto, mate.
Yeah.
But it's like, you said that one thing about, his freedom and everything like that. When people come up and thank you for your service. Like,
your cervix.
Like, thank you for your cervix, yeah. I cringe. Do you
Yeah,
guys, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Because it's very American where people, I joined up because I wanted to fight for everyone's freedom and stuff. It's like, I think, this is my experience anyway. An Australian soldier, like, very rarely do we join up because we think we're going to liberate our people and fight for freedom. I joined up because
you're an idealist.
I just wanted to, it's just, it sounded like a cool job, sounded like fun. Where else can you?
I think that's an Australian culture thing of, like, it's what's the word? It's not about, I want to do this for my country. It's just an adventure. It's
it, yeah. And you speak to most Aussie soldiers, and that's the same story. I joined up because it was an adventure.
Those boys are doing. I want to get in over.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, and then when you're in and you're training, and people going overseas, I want to go over because the boys are going over, mates are going over. I want to watch their six. I want to be over there. What's that meme that? Join the army, meet interesting people, and shoot them in the face. You're like, yeah, all right, sign me up, mate. I want to take down some bad people.
I've been thanked a few times in uniform, and as they're talking, I'm always thinking, I just spent a day non-tech in the armory, sweeping footpaths.
Yeah, but I mean,
We
Doing
were
that
in like,
shit.
mate, I just spent half a day of sleep, and then we played a bit of split screen bloody Call of Duty.
Oh, it's 9:30 in the morning. No, we got nothing for you, fellas. Come back at 3. So there's 5 hours straight of Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
But no worries. No worries.
I remember when we got back from overseas. I can't remember if I talked about this in the last episode, but coming out of the gates, so we just touched back down in Brisbane, and you know you've been with your team for like 6-7 months or whatever straight, and then watching the carousel, my bag came out first, and I was like, oh shit, well I guess I'm walking out first. All right, boys, been a pleasure. I'll see you later. Walked out like by myself. There's no one else around me, and then it got real quiet between where you pick your baggage up and where your family meet you.
yeah.
And it went real quiet. I was like, shit, this is the first time I've been by myself in 6 months. Dead silent. Walked out through the doors and there's a massive crowd there. And there's like an old digger and he had like the Veterans MC patch on his back. He was the first person I saw and the crowd started clapping. He goes, good on you, Dig. Thanks for your service. And I remember I've just been in Afghanistan. First person I've interacted with in Australia. I grinned. I was like, man, don't thank me. Like, please don't. I didn't. What are you thanking me for? I haven't done anything really.
When I came through and I came out and there's all those people and like you walk out to the right, I went to the left because there's this slight little fucking gap in the between the water hole, and I was like, I ain't walking through that. I just like ducked through and went through the back of
you?
everyone. Yeah, I was like, oh, I ain't doing that.
Mate, was it not like it was a nice feeling, but at the same time you're like, I don't deserve this. What are you clapping me for? You know?
Yeah, because you're so desensitized to everything you just done there. Like, it's just a day-to-day normal thing. Because I remember when I got back, and I didn't think about it. I should have thought about it before I did it, because I had to go back to my room to pick up some clothes, because my family was there. We were going to go to the pub for lunch. And while I was there, I happened to have a hard drive that had some funny things on it that I wanted to show them, and like a couple of them were like bips that we did, like nothing bad or anything like that. But then like I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, especially with my granddad because he's got PTSD. I was like, I probably shouldn't be showing him this shit.
Yep.
But,
Did he watch it?
Yeah, he did, but like
Yeah.
I could tell he wasn't really fucking. He didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, we like us, 20 years down the track where someone's showing us whatever theatre of war they're in.
Yeah.
Part of me would be like, I don't want to watch it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that interested. That's where I'm at now, where I don't want to watch anything military. I used to watch military movies all the time. But now I shy away from it.
I've been watching a lot of things where people go off into the woods alone and live by themselves. I'm on this new thing. So,
Shane, that's very troubling.
I think it was
If you-
last podcast we were talking about me wanting to become a blacksmith. My new things are building log cabins in the middle of nowhere and living a life of solitude.
Remember the last time you said you wanted to change your way of living when we went to Europe, and then you didn't want that.
I don't know what the fuck I want. It's just a pain. You'd come visit me, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'll come visit you.
Yeah, sweet.
Flashing toilets and fridges are pretty good, I think.
Nah,
You'll soon realise that.
Overrated.
Netflix, internet.
Yeah, I wouldn't last very long.
No,
at
you
all.
wouldn't last very long at all, mate. Well, it's good to have you on,
Thanks for
on
having
board.
me.
Thanks for a chat. Shane? Did bare minimum as usual.
Oh, thanks, mate.
That's good, mate. Until next time.